This is the second one I got because it says in the manual it'll do 14 cups of flour. Well, each one of these batches of dough is 5.5 cups, and this thing is just dying. It sounds sick. And you could smell it like it's heating up quite bad. And now I've got a funny noise coming from inside here. Just check this out. Doesn't sound very good, does it, now? So like I said, this is the second one that I had. The first one had no power and it just smoked and it just quit on me, and so I got another one, warranty, and this one I haven't used it very much at all. And it's doing the same thing. Lack of power. No, it's making a bunch of noise. We're going to do a little, we're going to do some exploring. We're going to see what is going on with this thing inside. I've had it with KitchenAid. Their quality, I don't know. Okay, we'll dig into it and we'll take it apart and see what's going on inside. Alright, I finally got some parts for this KitchenAid. What you need is external, internal C-clip pliers and a Robertson screwdriver. Now there's this band right here on the back side. You take off the one screw. I'm just using a little electric driver here, but you take one screw out. Now this band will come off. I took it off the back side. We'll put it there. Now we have 2 screws on this side and 2 screws on that side. We'll take them out. Make sure you unplug your machine. You don't want to get a nice little zap. I'm just going to put all the screws down here. Now this top lid should come off. And there you go. That's the top lid. Not really much to it. It's just a cast cover. Here's the motor. Here's the gearbox. Now I suspect the gearbox is no good because it's making all kinds of noise. So there's 4 screws in here. We'll take those out. You can use a Phillips. It looks like you could also use, or I'm using a Robertson. It looks like you could also use a Phillips too. I'm just loosening them first because this thing doesn't have that much power. Either thing doesn't. Looks like they're stainless steel screws. They got a magnetic bit on here and it doesn't want to hold on to them, so they're stainless. But everything is just like pot metal or white metal. Be nice to see this cast out of something stronger. Now this should lift right off. I'll do this so you can see. I don't want to lose that screw either. There we go. So there's the grease that's in it. People think that it's, I don't know, I don't think you could eat it. I don't think it's edible. I think it's actually just normal grease. Kind of spread all over, some down there. Doesn't look that great. Anyway, we're gonna put some more grease on there later on. Okay, so there's a C-clip on top here. We're going to take this, we're just going to open it up just a little. You don't have to go too wild, otherwise you distort the C-clip. So there's the C-clip now. We'll put that on the towel. Now this should pop right out of here. I'm going to take this out of the way. That's just a drive from the motor to this worm gear here to this other. That's your drive down here. Pop this out. There we go. That's one gear. It doesn't look that bad. I think that bottom gear is what's giving me grief. Now it looks like there's a pin that goes through to hold everything on and up. Yeah, so if you push that pin out, yeah, that pin will just come out easily. And you can see that pin there. It goes either way. Pretty simple setup. This pin goes through that. This should come down now, I think. Not yet, but that gear should come out. I'm really thinking that gear is what's giving me the problems. Looks pretty crappy to me. And that just keeps on coming out, just like that. Well, that will come down too, the whole. Yeah, these are the gears that I need. It looks like they're a brass gear. They're pretty sharp. Basic. There we go. Come on out. There we go. Perfect. Now that should just come right down. Wow, that planetary. Usually there's. There we go. It's a little different setup, the planetary. There's only one. Usually the sun gear is in the middle and it drives, and then that'll spin around. So this is kind of a different setup compared to what I'm used to. I'm used to heavy duty stuff. This is the gear I'm gonna need because it's very sharp. And it kind of looks like, well, it's not brass, but it's I don't think it's a very good steel on these gears. Not very good at all, if you could tell, but it's if you could see in there, it's very sharp. This is the one that's wore out. So that's what it looks like underneath. So basically let's see if I can hold this. These are supposed to be called planet gears here. Anyway, that's the ring, and the sun should be, well, it's the middle shaft. And what that does is it just goes round and round. That's what makes it just follows along. See, this will spin. So that'll go into the gear. And then once you turn it, you see how it'll turn the shaft here. That's all that does. Okay, I'm back. I got the parts, and it was the drive gear that fits underneath this one. So you buy a new drive gear. You can't, and you don't just change that, because what happens is if this is wore Then the worm gear, you can see what's going on. Okay, right here, that worm gear wears. So you got to buy the whole issue, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be looking for trouble. So we got the right parts finally. Push this thing down right into, I'm going to put this pin down here, because that just goes down onto that wear surface here. I was hoping that would be a washer, like a thrust washer or something, but I'm going to put a little bit of grease underneath that. This is just normal bearing grease used for a machine, because this other grease, I don't think you're going to be, it's not edible either. So just tap nicely with the hammer here. Okay, so that's in. You don't have to tap very hard, but you sure can't push it in with your hand. Now, we'll put the pin in a little hole so it holds everything upwards. It holds everything up. Now, we will put this other gear, and see it's got the little slot where the pin goes in. So this is going to have to be lined up with that gear. So basically, the way this meshes here, that's what drives, because this worm gear, once I put the worm gear in, well, the worm gear is going to go here, and it drives this. But if you didn't have this part to mesh with the cutout, or the way it's shaped, plus the pin, ain't going anywhere. So find the spot. There we go. Now you can see where there's a spot for the, you can see where the, this is an external clip. See where it goes. And you put that down. Remember, again, don't spread that too tight, you'll distort it. Spread it too far apart, I should say. There, now it's in the groove. Pretty simple, actually. It's easy to do once you have the proper parts. Now, this is all together. You see it's all working fine. This is the drive gear. This gear went, this gear was going. I should have had it with me. I could have taken, I'll show some pictures later of it. So now what we're going to do is put a little bit of grease on this end and this end. Now remember, when you take this out, this is a bearing. It'll go in here, but the other bearing has a thrust washer before it. So you got to put the one wear surface, that outer, and then the bearing, it's a thrust bearing. Then you have another one here, and you can see it's kind of rounded. So you can't have those things in the wrong way either, otherwise it'll be too tight. Let me see what's going on here. Good thing I told you that, because this is just a flat surface. That flat surface goes towards the gear. And see, it's got it cupped. See, there's a cupped edge in here. Now your bearing will have a little race to run around. Now you drop that in there. That's okay. See, now there's a cupped end here and a flat end here. Well, the cupped end goes here. So now you got a little bearing raceway. Now the other end, the bearing goes here. Well, basically it's a bushing, but now this will go in the spot where they have it molded. You might have to turn fall in place, but we're gonna just see now it's all there, it's all together. There isn't much for play in here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna give her some grease in here. And I think I'm going to give this guy some more grease. If you're wondering what this is for greasing the tip on a power saw. So it's just a handy little thing that I see. There's enough grease in there from factory. They really got her loaded in there, but I'm just gonna leave that stuff because it's not that dirty. But okay, now I'll grease this end because that's what goes into the bearing on the top. Oh yeah. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to do some little adjustments with this cover. Just kind of twisted a little. Back on. I guess we can have it twisted here a little tiny bit. So that's how you adjust your clearance on your on your gears. Like I did, having those gears running open like that. Make sure you don't get your fingers in there because I'm sure it has enough power to hurt you. Take it loosely here. Let's see what happens now. Doesn't sound the greatest, but what do you expect? I was hoping it would be better than that. Okay, now we have five more screws and this thing's back together. And then I'm going to make some bread tomorrow. It's quite late here. So anyway, you put this cover back on right here. And you won't be so noisy. You got 1, 2, and then 3, 4 on the other side to hold that cover on. And don't tighten too tight because it'll break. And strip the threads out, and you'll have another problem. Now I'm going to go on the other side here. Put the long screws in, because one little short guy like this, that holds your little pretty band back on. It holds that on. How's it sound? Sounds like a truck with 1,000,000 miles. The rear end. Now this band goes on here and around, and then on the back side, that's where the, put that little screw, and then that's it. Bread making time tomorrow. We'll see how this works. Probably still suck at making 5.5. There we go. 5.5 cups of flour. It'll probably still be terrible. Anyway, that's how you put together a KitchenAid mixer. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a long, drawn out thing, but I guess that's what happens when you gotta fix stuff. Thank you. You come back again, and hope you enjoyed it. See ya.